President Trump would like to, the UN not to exist and replace it with his Board of Peace, which, frankly is looking more like a club of rights abusers.
We are really concerned that the Sri Lankan government continues to obstruct this effort. They do not allow the members of the team, the accountability mechanism into Sri Lanka.
We do have a question online. This has come from Eswaran Ratnam, who writes for the Daily Mirror in Sri Lanka. So I think this is going to go to you, Meenakshi. The question is, despite mass protests in Sri Lanka and a change of government, it looks like accountability over alleged war crimes has not yet been addressed. And now with the U.S. pulling out of some UN institutions linked to human rights, that pressure which we saw in Sri Lanka on the human rights issues in the past may just reduce and die a natural death. So are we seeing the years-long fight for accountability in countries like Sri Lanka at risk of being swept under the carpet?
Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Iswaran. Last year, the Human Rights Council renewed its resolution on Sri Lanka, setting up a mechanism to preserve and analyze evidence of war crimes. This is really important. It is something that families of the war, of Sri Lanka's civil war, have really worked towards. I've met countless mothers who have come with me to Geneva, spoken, persuaded members to support this effort. This effort will continue, but it takes time. We are really concerned that the Sri Lankan government continues to obstruct this effort. They do not allow the members of the team, the accountability mechanism into Sri Lanka. And most recently, the same mechanism actually collected some of the evidence and produced a report that is a UN OHCHR report on sexual violence during the conflict. We have documented the same abuse in the past, and it is one of the most shocking level of torture and sexual abuse that exists in Sri Lanka. Considering I work in South Asia and I'm used to hearing really terrible narratives and testimonies, it is still shocking what happened in Sri Lanka. And until security forces are held to account, that will continue. So yes, the UN mechanism as of now exists, and we hope that it will continue and members will support it. But I do want to pass to Elaine on some of the challenges that the UN is facing.
Yeah, thanks for that, Meenakshi. I mean, I think, look, accountability is not dead. These institutions are flawed, but at the same time, they're all we've got. And it can take a long time. I mean, actually, when I spoke about the Duterte case, we first reported on Duterte's crimes when he was the mayor of Davao City back in 2009. So it can take a long time. We're now here in 2025. He was only, arrested last year for the wheels of justice to turn. Afghanistan, I mentioned it earlier, but having these mechanisms that have been established by the UN to collect and preserve evidence, these have now been established with respect to North Korea, Myanmar, Syria, and now Afghanistan. It is important, and I think it can play a deterrent effect when you have human rights abusers that are actively committing abuses on the ground, to know that actually someone is monitoring, someone is gathering the photos and the videos and the testimonies and the evidence with a view to future prosecution. So I know that President Trump would like to, the UN not to exist and replace it with his Board of Peace, which, frankly is looking more like a club of rights abusers than a Board of Peace. But I think it's really important at this moment to continue to invest in the UN and ensure that the UN remains a place of accountability and is not weakened so much by the likes of China and Russia and others to then become a place purely in order to facilitate technical cooperation.